Hi guys, welcome back to Law Troop. In this video, we will cover a few more sections from the Limitation Act. If you are new, then please make sure that you have already watched our previous video on the Limitation Act so that all this information makes more sense to you. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Without further ado, let us just start with section 12 of the Act. Now, sections 12 to 15 of the Limitation Act deal with exclusion of time under the Limitation Act, meaning that while counting period for limitation, which time period you should not take into consideration and you just have to skip that period. What do I mean when I say that skip or jump certain days or period? Now, instead of giving any separate example for this, let me take you to the subsections of section 12 and it will become clearer to you that what I mean by ignoring certain period while calculating limitation period. Now, subsection 1 of section 12 applies to suits, appeals or application, and it says that the day on which cause of action arises, that day will be excluded. Now I will give you an example, and my examples will be relating to civil cases as Limitation Act applies mostly to civil matters and just a few specific criminal proceedings as we had discussed in the previous video. Let us look at our example. You entered into contract with someone to supply apples to them on 10th of January 2020. And they were supposed to pay you at that time itself, but they did not. So, your cause of action started on the 10th itself. But according to the subsection 1 of section 12, you have to exclude 10th of January because you don't count the day on which cause of action arises and start counting whatever days or years are prescribed in the Act from next day onwards. For those of you who might be confused about what is cause of action, it is when you can approach the court. Now, in my example, let us say 7 days are prescribed. This time it is just an example, okay? It is not true. I have chosen 7 days so that you can follow what I am saying. So let us just assume that 7 days are prescribed to approach the court in the Limitation Act. So in that case, I will start counting from 11th of January. Why? Because my cause of action started on the 10th of January when I was not made the payment which the other side had promised to make to me. So in this example, I will start counting my limitation from the next day when my cause of action arose, which was on 10th. So I will start counting from 11th of January, then 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. So 7 days get over on 17th of January 2020. Therefore, I can only go to the court till 17th of January 2020 and not on the 18th. Unless, of course, if you remember section 5 from the previous video, that I can show sufficient cause to the court as to why I got late. If I have to file an application or appeal, because remember section 5 does not apply to suits. Now we will move on. Subsection 2 of section 12 of the Limitation Act applies only to appeal and application. Guys, this subsection tells you how to compute limitation in case of filing an appeal or on filing an application for revision or review of a judgment. So according to it, you have to exclude 1. The day on which the judgment complained of was pronounced, which we usually call impugned judgment. 2. Necessary time taken for obtaining a copy of that judgment. Let us see an example for subsection 2. Supposedly, judgment is pronounced or delivered against you on 10th of January 2020. According to the Limitation Act, you have to file an appeal within 30 days from the date of limitation. So, according to the first point of this subsection, you will leave 10th of January and start counting from the next date onwards. However, as you need to file copy of that judgment also along with your appeal or your application for review or revision. Now, this copy does not mean the online copy that we get on the internet. It means certified copies from the court, which can take time. If it takes you 7 days to obtain certified copies, then you will exclude 10th of January, the day on which the judgment was pronounced, and 7 days which you took to obtain the certified copy. So total 8 days. So like for filing a civil appeal to any court which is not a high court, period prescribed under the act is 30 days. In this example, your period of 30 days ends on 16th of February. Now we will see how. 10th of January on which judgment was given is excluded, plus the extra 7 days we took to obtain its certified copy. So 18th of January will be counted as the first day, and then go on till you have reached on the 30th day. While counting, do not forget that January has 31 days, so count accordingly. It means you need to file a case in court before or by 16th of February, not later than that. Guys, here you have to keep a very important point in mind that wherever I say in my examples that you can exclude the time between when you applied and when you obtained or received the certified copy, then that does not mean that the day on which you go as per your comfort to collect the copy. It means that that period will come to an end when the copy is ready for you to collect. Okay, so if you think that you won't get the copy collected from the court and thus it will help you extend the period of limitation, you are absolutely wrong. If your copy is ready on the 7th and you go on 10th, you won't get those extra 3 days. Subsection 3 is also similar to subsection 2. So what is the difference? The difference is that subsection 2 talks about filing an appeal, review or revision of what? Of a judgment, whereas subsection 3 also talks about appeal, review or revision but of an order or a decree. So just like in subsection 2, in subsection 3 also you need to exclude necessary time taken for obtaining a copy of the order or decree. I will be making a video on CPC 2 and will hopefully explain all these terms there because they need to be taught thoroughly. Now going on to subsection 4, it is also similar to the above two subsections, but it talks about award, like arbitration award. Again, you will exclude necessary time taken for obtaining a copy of such award. I am not giving you separate examples here as the last three subsections are all similar. Next is the explanation to section 12, which says that in computing the time necessary for obtaining a copy of the decree or order, the time taken by the court to prepare the decree or order before an application for a copy of the decree or order is made shall not be excluded. We will again look at the same example as above and try to understand this explanation. Say an order is pronounced against you on 10th of January 2020. According to the Limitation Act, you have to file an appeal within 30 days from the date of order. So according to the first point of subsection 2, you will leave 10th of January, which is the date of pronouncement of that order. Now start counting 30 days from 11th of January. Your 30 days will end on 9th of February. But you also need a certified copy of that order which you applied for in the meantime. Say on 4th February and you received it on 10th of February. Total 7 days including the day on which you applied for it. That is 4th February will be excluded. So what you do while computing limitation? You will again exclude 10th of January and 7 days. Total 8 days. You cannot be like exclude 10th and then 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th and so on till you receive the copy. Explanation says that period from when you applied for certified copy till the time you have received it will be excluded. So in this very case, as it took you total 7 days, basically your period expires on 16th of February, counting 30 days from 18th of January plus 7 days extra. So I can also give you another example for this explanation from another angle. Say a similar situation, an order is pronounced against you on 10th of January 2020. So again you will leave 10th of January and start counting 30 days from 11th of January. Your 30 days will end on 9th of February. But again you also need a certified copy of this order. However, as your clerk is super lazy, so instead of applying for a certified copy properly, he simply verbally asks the court reader on 5th of February if the certified copy is ready or not yet. The court reader says no. After you learn about the fact that certified copy is not yet applied for, you scold your clerk and he applies for the certified copy on 7th of February, which you receive on the next day itself. So now you will exclude 10th of January, 7th of February and 8th of February, total 3 days. In this case, your period of limitation will end on 12th of February. Guys, this is it for today's video, as I had referred to just section 12 of the Limitation Act, so there was no need for a PDF in this video. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe.